Hello, so my name's Michael Conneely, and this video and associated blog is about understanding the Nakshatra energies that the nodes transit through Virgo and Pisces from the date 30th of October 2023 will have to pass through. It's part 2 in a 7-part series of videos and blogs I'm doing all about the transit of Rahu North Node through Pisces and Ketu South Node through Virgo. And there's a list of the 7 parts in the associated blog post. Okay, so let's look first at the transit of Rahu North Node from the 30th of October 2023 through the 3 nakshatras that are within the sign of Pisces. It's really needed to take on board, as well as understanding nodes through signs, nodes through nakshatras, or any planet transiting through nakshatras. The nakshatras are the wonderful 27-sign lunar zodiac of Vedic astrology, which is supremely ancient and supremely accurate as to our emotionally based consciousness and personality and our relationship scripts and much more. Now, I actually teach a course on the nakshatras that you can enroll for. They're included in my Vedic Astrology Level 1 course, which you can see details of on my Star Wheel Astrology website. The link's in the associated blog. But also, I have an in-depth nakshatra course, and the link for that too is in my Star Wheel Astrology website, and you can see it in the associated blog. And an important point is, unique to me, both the courses, the Part 1 Vedic Astrology and the Nakshatra course, have full Western astrology crossover because, as I hope I made it clear in my Part 1 video, Western astrology so utterly needs the addition of Vedic astrology, otherwise it makes incomplete and inaccurate statements. But Vedic astrology too so needs the addition of Western astrology, otherwise it makes completely inaccurate statements as well. And so I learned this 28 years ago, and ever since then my readings and my courses have combined both Vedic and Western astrology. Now, the 3 nakshatras that Rahu, North Node, will be transiting through while it's transiting through Aries are the final nakshatra, number 27, Revati, the 26th nakshatra, Uttarabhadra, and the 25th nakshatra, Purvabhadra. These 3 nakshatras will, in their very different ways, filter the energy of Rahu, and they will morph the energy of Rahu as he goes through them. So let's look at them. Okay, number 1, Revati Nakshatra. So Rahu is in Revati Nakshatra from the 30th of October 23 to the 9th of July 24. So that's from 30 degrees Pisces to 16 degrees 40 Pisces. Now, the important thing to know is that Revati Nakshatra is the end of the universe. It includes the Gandanta, which I talked at length about in the Part 1. Revati's motivation is moksha, equals spiritual liberation. Incarnations in Revati, it's often our final journey from this life to the next, when a new set of karmic scripts would be worked with. Revatis can be mystics with a belief in the goodness of humanity. It all depends on their level of consciousness. There can be very negative aspects to Revati. Revati's ruler is Mercury, which can make them too critical. They have to watch this. They really do. I speak as a rarity, and I keep trying not to be so critical and honour others rather than be critical of them. And regarding this Rahu transit through Revati, note that the Rahu-Mercury combination at its best is intellectually expansive. I mean, it's in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. But negatively, there's a risk of fears and phobias, endless mental fluctuations, and yes, being too critical. Okay, Rahu moves next into the 26th nakshatra, Uttarabhadra, and that's from the 9th of July 2024 to the 17th of March 2025, with Pisces moving from 16 degrees 40, with Rahu moving from 16 degrees 40 Pisces to 3 degrees 20 Pisces. Now, Uttarabhadra's ruler is Saturn. The Rahu-Saturn combination, which will be felt during those dates, is very hard-working indeed. And indeed, there can be limitation and hardship, but through which limitation and hardship, wisdom can be gained. There's a karmic demand for patience. There can be endings. Now, the Devata for Uttarabhadra is Ahi Budhyana, the snake that dwells in the deep waters. And that's a clue. Snakes shed their skins, which is the energy of death and rebirth that we can embrace at that time. We need to go into the deep waters to fully become who we are, rather than being driven by concepts, formulas, or societal structures. The energy of Uttarabhadra Nakshatra is actually Kshatriya, or warrior. And significantly, Uttarabhadra Nakshatra signifies the potential to exit from this world through spiritual maturity, enlightenment, also dreams and dreamlike states. I really believe in vision work. And I'm concerned, for example, that formulaic mantra has been so imposed on followers of Vedic astrology. Right, the third nakshatra that Rahu will go through in its transit through Pisces is Purvabhadra. So Rahu transits Purvabhadra from the 17th of March 25 to the 17th of May 25, going from 3 degrees 20 Pisces to 0 degrees Pisces. Now, Purvabhadra's ruler is Jupiter, expansive, beneficent, but with the negative side of the risk of florid, corrupt ideas or whatever. Now, the symbol for Purvabhadra is the sword. The yoni or power animal for Purvabhadra is the male lion, which is the vehicle of Durga. She also rides a tiger, of course. The Ayurvedic dosha for Purvabhadra is Vata, and so watch out for scatter, discontent, irritation. It involves seeing both sides of issues, but that can be for good as well as ill, and the quality is fierce. In fact, the principal star energies include fixed stars Markab and Shayat, with the potential of extreme misfortune. Watch out when Rahu's going over those. Okay, having looked at the transit of Rahu through the 3 nakshatras of Pisces, let's move on to look at the transit of Ketu South Node through the 3 nakshatras of Virgo. So, before Ketu changes sign on the 30th of October, Ketu has been bringing his cutting energies, but with the gift for potential spiritual growth and realization through the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. And in fact, it was that 18-month Ketu transit through Libra that motivated me to create my Love Star dating website for those who are seeking love, who are on a spiritual pathway. And it has a panel of astrologers and healers who can give useful help. So have a look at that if it applies to you. But from the 30th of October, a new current of energy is superimposed on the one I've just described, Ketu in Libra. The new current of energy is, of course, Ketu going through Virgo. And I think the two key issues here is that Ketu will scythe away at the overcritical characteristics of Virgo. They need to be replaced with a more loving attitude, perceptive, but not critical, loving. And they utterly need to be replaced by a fuller expression of our healer energy, the healer nature of Virgo. So at this time, at the start of this Ketu through Virgo transit, and we'll be going on in a moment to look at how that's modified by Ketu's transit through the 3 nakshatras that are in Virgo, I'd ask you to bring your instincts and your intuition to your healing issues. And I feel that the healing approaches we will develop will tend to be holistic or alternative. I mean, a very obvious one is if we're overweight, go on a diet. But I would tell you, as I mentioned in part 1, that very recently, out of the blue, I was put in contact with a herbalist, and I realised that for the last year or two, mainstream medicines I had been taking were turning me sort of into a zombie and giving me ill health and side effects. And the reset from the herbs is like a miracle. And that is so typical of Ketu moving into Virgo. Now, because it's Ketu, it is so important to investigate and become aware of and use for healing our past life issues and scripts and events. It's so important also to investigate and identify our ancestral issues. And I did quite a lot of that while Ketu was going through Libra, because my South Node Ketu natally is in Libra, so I was having my nodal return, and I was, as I mentioned in part 1, amazed that people came from nowhere saying they'd offer me healings on my past life and ancestral issues. And I feel so grateful to them. I feel I learned such a lot. I felt great grievance against my ancestry, but I learned that that was too critical and wrong, and that they should be honoured because they had their own karmas that they came in with, and they had to work with that, as you or I have difficult karmas that we have to work with and experience, so that we can heal them, so that we can become aware and heal them. So it's absolutely wrong to be too critical of our ancestors. And so I actually built an ancestral altar and put on it the figures of my family and see it every day. By the way, past issues where you or I behave badly can arise at the time of this Ketu transit, with the call for us each to rectify in as much as is possible. Talents that are latent in us that we may not know are there can arise at the time of this Ketu transit. Watch out for them. So now let's look at Ketu's transit through the 3 nakshatras that are in the sign of Virgo. And so the nakshatras provide an additional sort of lens through which a planet's energies will be affected as they impact us. So first of all, Ketu is going through Chitra Nakshatra. So the first 2 padas of Chitra in Virgo, but the 3rd and 4th are in Libra, which is Ketu's already been through. And the important thing to recognise is that Chitra is ruled by Mars. Us Chitras are sort of temperamental. And so from the 30th of October 23 to the 5th of March 24, it's through the first 2 padas of Chitra Nakshatra that Ketu will be transiting. Now, very important to realise that Chitra's deity is Vishvakarma, the heavenly architect, the celestial architect, the blacksmith of the world, the magical adept of creation, of beauty and form out of Maya. And Chitra's symbol is the pearl. You know, if you walk on the beach, you see this dull shell, say a dull oyster shell. But if you open the dull shell, you can see inside the utter beauty of a pearl. And the responsibility of people with planets in Chitra, and the responsibility of all of us while Ketu is going through Chitra from the 30th of October 23 to the 5th of March 24, is for us to identify our pearl, our special talent, and polish it, and polish the pearl, and polish the pearl ever more and more. That will be an additional wisdom we need to perceive and act on at the time when Ketu is transiting through Chitra. Chitras have a karmic duty to discover and ever polish more and more throughout their lifetime the pearl that is their special talent. And there'll be a sort of additional energy because Chitra's power animal is the female tiger, which is an energy of aggression and ruthlessness. But then Ketu transits into the next nakshatra within Virgo, Hasta Nakshatra. Ketu transits Hasta Nakshatra from 23 degrees Virgo to 10 Virgo, from the 5th of March 24 to the 11th of November 24. Now, Hasta Nakshatra is ruled by the moon. Big change of energy. It's so helpful to hear this stated now. Look out for it. Work with it. Hasta's power animal is the female buffalo, which is nervy and overrunning, but a strong worker. Hasta's symbol is the palm of the hand, which can be the hand of the skilled worker or of the card sharp. Hasta's Ayurvedic dosha is Vata, nervous but quick, light, agile. Hasta's gender is male. So Hastas are industrious, hard-working and service-orientated, and usually humanitarian. They can overwork. They can have an interest in the occult or the spiritual. They can need contact with nature, most definitely, or the outdoors. And for example, can end up working in horticulture or herbalism. But the not so positive side of Hasta maybe is their over-flexible, chameleon-like qualities. Too cunning and clever, a thievish mind, tending to the liar, and too mercurial, controversial. They can be a different person in different company and can be untrustworthy. So I say all this because Ketu will be shining through to us through the lens that is Hasta, from the 5th of March 24 to the 11th of November 24. Okay, the third nakshatra within the sign of Virgo is Uttara Phalguni nakshatra. It's very different again. Ketu transits through Uttara Phalguni nakshatra, Padas 4, 3 and 2, from the 11th of January 24 to the 17th of May 25. Sorry, when I talked about Hasta, I said the 11th of November because it was the 11th of January. Now, Uttara Phalguni nakshatra is ruled by the sun. So at its strongest, it can be cruel and sharp and very much the individual. But the sun at his best is benevolent. Uttara Phalguni people can work for perfection, maturity, and the ripening of their fruit, so they can break away from a purely material role. Uttara Phalguni's power animal is the bull. Uttara Phalguni's caste is Kshatriya, the warrior, and their motivation is moksha, salvation. Incidentally, it's important to note that Uttara